Hello, Prairie Ridge students. Welcome to your lunch lesson. We are going to review lunch expectations and changes. Starting this second semester, you are going to notice a lot of differences between how we did lunch in first semester and how we do lunch in second semester. Pay close attention so that you know what to expect when you walk into the lunchroom today. Before you leave today, you will be able to explain the lunch expectations and the changes in our lunch structures. You will also understand and have a better idea of where you are sitting at lunch. Due to COVID and having all students in the building, we will have an assigned seating for lunch. You will sit with your advisory class for the most part, and your row and seat has already been assigned. You have to sit in your assigned row and assigned seat every single day. You should have received your lunch seating assignment between 8 and 8:30 in your advisory class today. If you did not, no worries. We will have signs on the wall outside the cafeteria based on advisory, and we will also have a lot of adults available to help you find your seat. Look at the signs on each table row and the numbers on each seat to find your place. Please ask an adult if you need help. Now we are going to review how lunch will work now that we are all back. First, we will review how to enter the lunchroom. Most importantly, all students must walk when entering the lunchroom. Students will first find their assigned seat and sit down. We will no longer line up in the hallway for lunch. Once all students are seated in their assigned seat, we will begin lunch. Once everyone is in their assigned seat, students will be dismissed by row to get in line for food. Only students with their ID may get in line. Students without their ID must remain seated and wait until all other rows are dismissed. The adult leading lunch will clearly announce when students without their ID may get in line. Next, eating lunch will look a little different too. For safety, masks must be worn over your nose and your mouth at all times when you are not eating. This means that masks may only be removed when you begin eating, and it must be put back on when you are not eating. Also, all students must be respectful. Please eat your food. We don't need to mix ketchup and mashed potatoes if we aren't actually going to eat it. Pick up any food or trash that falls off of your tray and onto the floor. If you don't pick it up, that just means that you're expecting someone else to come up behind you to clean up after you. Lastly, stay in your assigned area. You will notice that you will be seated closer together at lunch. Students should not leave their assigned seats without permission. Also, stay in your bubble and provide your peers enough room to eat. The last area that we will talk about is dismissing from lunch. Students should always check their area, which means to check around their table, on the floor, and around their chair. We will still announce when students can dump their trash and trays. Students will have a seat after dumping their trash and trays and wait for dismissal. We will dismiss students by row. It is expected that all students remain seated until their specific row is dismissed. Students will walk when exiting the cafeteria and head straight to their next class. Next, I'm going to show you the lunch layout and seating assignments. You should have written your lunch seating assignment on the back of your ID, but if you did not, that's okay. We will help you know where to sit today. You will have a longer lunch today just so we can get everyone seated and then get everyone fed. So today at lunch, when you walk to the lunchroom or to the tech room based on where you are assigned, please look for an adult if you are not sure where to sit, and we will help you. We know that it will take some time for you to get used to where you sit, but remember that your assigned seat is your assigned seat. That means that you have to sit in that seat every single day. We cannot switch seats. We cannot move seats. You have to sit in your assigned spot. This is what the lunchroom looks like. So you'll notice that the tables are actually facing a different way. So you enter here, if you can see where my red cursor is, you enter about right here. So you're going to notice that the tables are actually facing the other direction than they were in first semester. Whoops. And you will notice that we have 13 rows of tables. So you are assigned a row and a seat number. So you might be row 1, seat 1, row 1, seat 2, row 2, seat 1, row 2, seat 2. So you just need to know your row number and your seat number. We will have signs with advisory teacher names on the rows as well to help you. And we have 13 rows in the cafeteria, and we have 18 seats in each row. So on the back of your ID, you should have written your row and your seat number if you are sitting in the cafeteria. We also have some students seated in the tech room. We have 7 rows in the tech room, so this is where you enter. If you can see my red cursor, this is where you enter, and we have 7 rows of tables. So 7 rows, and each row has anywhere from 12 to 15 seats. So if you are seated in the tech room, you report to the tech room first and have a seat, and you wait to be dismissed for your food. So you should have in the tech room a row number and a seat number, and that is where you will sit every day. If you have questions about lunch, if you have questions about where you sit, please ask your teacher. Also know that we do not expect you to know exactly where to sit today, so please don't feel overwhelmed with not being sure where to go. We will have a lot of people around to help, and we are super happy to make sure that you get to where you need to be and that everyone has enough time to eat. All right, thank you everyone. We can't wait to see you today at your lunch.